Ladies and gentlemen, Side Strafe back with some more World of Tanks, and as you can see today, we're inside the Super Pershing. This is a Tier 8 Premium Medium Tank, and as I had said in one of my previous videos, I was looking at picking it up, and I decided to do so after a lot of research, watching replays, and reading through the forums. The funny thing is, if you were to do the same, you would find that a lot of people don't like this tank and don't feel that it is worth it. It costs about 7,200 gold, I believe, which is not bad in terms of premiums. However, there are other choices that you could possibly make. Of course, one being the Type 59, once it does come back to the North American shop, or perhaps whatever region you're playing in. The thing with this one is, it does have some interesting aspects that might make it a bang for the buck, and that of course comes into play when you talk about its armor. Strangely enough, most American tanks, aren't known for that. Well, I guess that's not really that strange, but strangely enough, this one is. It has extra armor welded to the front, as I've spoken of in the past. And let's see if we can get some shots out on this Tiger 2. There's a side hit. He's not going to have a nice day, I'm sure, when he crosses over and meets his opposition. Is he going to come back? We'll see. So, as I've spoken about this tank in the past, the story behind the real Super Pershing is that you take a regular Pershing and then you weld on some captured Panther tank armor. And in doing so, basically double its armor and create spacing. Armor spacing is in this game, as it is in reality, and in some cases it actually works. It actually does what it's supposed to do. So let's say you have 2 layers of armor and there's a space in between that. When the shell manages to penetrate that first layer of armor, there is now a chance for that round to lose power, or perhaps tumble, or just not do what it was designed to do, because it's kind of hurting the round, or the hardness of the shell, I guess. So with that said, it's gonna give you better defense in terms of actually getting to the meat of the tank, which is your main hull, therefore just not causing damage. So sometimes you'll hit a target, you'll say, oh, we hit them, or penetration, but there's no damage. That's because the shell hasn't managed to get through another layer of armor, because in some tanks it's not noticeable. Some tanks have been designed to cover up or completely blend the different layers of armor so that it doesn't show up on the tank. In this one, as I'll show you when we go back to the garage, you'll notice that you can actually see the spacing and layers of armor because of how it was just basically welded on over the top. So it actually does work to a certain degree. Maybe not as it would in reality, but for the most part it actually does play a part, and you'll find that a shell will sometimes pen the front. As you can see here, it actually appears to have penetrated the first layer of armor on the turret, and then hitting, it looks like it actually hit my my mantlet there, going through that. And there's another hit, of course, when I'm not even paying attention as I'm trying to show you this game. But let's see if we can get some revenge, because I'm assuming it was this guy. Screw you. No dice. But anyway, some more good examples here. We're taking more hits to the front. You notice only one shot has damaged us so far, but look how many penetrations there have been. That's because it's penning the first layer of armor, but it's not necessarily getting through the turret. It's not getting through the second. There's another shot, but no damage. Again, so you can see that one penned, but that's only the first layer of the welded on armor. But it caused no damage. So that's where this tank is amazing. And that's pretty much only where it's amazing, because other than that, unfortunately, the reality is it's slow. It's too slow to really be considered a medium tank. It plays like a heavy. You need to almost play it like a Tiger tank and hope for the best. The gun isn't amazing, but it can get the job done if you know where to aim, like that right there with the rear armor coming out to expose itself. So I don't see much else there. Some targets lit on the other side. So the sides are the same though. The sides and the rear of the turret, sides of the turret, you don't want to get hit there. That has not been up armored. You're only dealing with the front. And we'll of course take a better look as we enter the garage. Don't know who's going to win this one. We are tied. And for the most part, I am playing a sniper role. I would say that this tank is a midfield unit. I wouldn't necessarily say that you should rush in with it. It's definitely not a flank tank because it doesn't have the speed. You can flank at greater distances, obviously go around, take the long route. You know, it just might take you a little bit more time because then you can use the 90 mil to penetrate weaker rear and side armor, of course. But at this point in time, I don't really have much to shoot at. So I'm going to come around and perhaps see what we can do to this Ferdinand, because everybody else seems to be engaging from the front. So we'll see how this works out. Obviously gotten a couple of hits, but no kills. There's also a low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and try to get around them. Now, you can, of course, see here that this tank is just super slow. 500 horsepower. And as I may have mentioned, I believe that that was a real statistic from the Super Pershing. But in this game, I feel that that needs to be changed because this game isn't really based on 100% realism. So I think they need to kind of look at balancing and at least give it a little bit more speed. I don't really have too many issues with the gun because even though I don't have the best aim in the world, I do understand where to aim. And I think it does all right, I guess. And it looks like they're going to finish off this Ferdinand with or without me. Yep, so that's the end of that. So let's bring her around and try to get to their base, perhaps. However, if you think about our position right now, we don't really want to be the first one in. This tank's not bad, and you do want to treat it like a heavy, but only from the front, because everything else acts like a medium in terms of the armor. And I'm not a frontline tank. Like I said, I think at most this is a midfielder. Now, we don't know where the rest are. I have a feeling that the most of their defense is on the other side, but I could be wrong. See, I'm the only one out here. Everybody else is hanging back. I see very little movement on the minimap in terms of our team. I'm definitely not a scout tank. Contact front. Oh, see, that's a side hit. We've obviously been lit, and now we're really the only thing that they probably see, as is that IS. However, we do have some backup on the way, I hope. There's a hit. That looked like high explosive, maybe. I don't know where that landed. He aimed for the tubes on the top of the tank, which the tubes actually have no hitbox from what I know, but they do pass through. That could have been a good hit. And possibly hit the cupola or other viewports. Remember what I said about shooting at invisible tanks sometimes? Because they don't move? There you go. There's a kill. He decided not to move. And that was a mistake, although he may have not been aware of my shot. So let's carry on. T-29 is at 100% health, so we can hopefully back him up. Unfortunately, there appears to be a medium back at our base. I'm too slow to go back, so I'm just going to carry on. There is a tank destroyer in that vicinity, so... Oh, it's just been destroyed. Alright, the bulk of their forces are moving in on our base. This doesn't look good. They're right at our base. They can get the cap. We have one tank destroyer that's moving back to defend, and then an artillery piece that hopefully can at least just get a couple of smacks. We're unfortunately not close enough to their flag yet. And again, this thing is not built for speed. If you want a fast tank, this is definitely not it. Hopefully it'll get buffed up a little bit, but right now, not happening. In some cases, people are noticing that it feels slower than the T-34, which is kind of sad. But we've managed to not hit anybody there. Alright, well. They just quickly flanked in there. But that's that. But as you can see, we can look at shots out, hits on target, a couple of damaged units. And there you have it. Now, on a loss, non-premium. All right, there's your experience. That's what you expect. Credits, 31,952. And there's our repairs. The reason that people buy premium tanks is for the credits. And this thing will earn you credits, just like you would expect it to. In some cases, a lot of people are reporting that it does earn a little bit more than the Type 59 typically in a battle. Just depends on how well you do, of course. But let's take a look at some of the things I was talking about here. So, obviously you have base Pershing. You add extra armor to it. This stuff here has been added on. And then, of course, you can see this sloped armor here. You can see the spacing that I was even talking about. Right through there till we get to the main hull. So, the idea is hopefully the round hits your tank, and hopefully this is slanted and sloped so much that it will actually just bounce off. And of course at different angles as well, when you're fighting, hopefully it bounces off here, but if you angle yourself and a round has to come from this direction, this is going to increase the chances of a bounce as well, so keep that in mind when you're fighting. Always aiming for, you know, pure flat armor is not what you want, so that's why the sides and the rear are always the weak points. So with this, you can see the spacing here. Hopefully, if the round does manage to penetrate, it's going to cause the round to fumble or lose power on entry and fail there. In reality, too, if you were talking about high explosive armor, if it's an HE round, comes in, you know, pens this, blows up, the explosion, it'll pen this first layer, explode, but the explosion's not going to do anything to the main hull. I don't know if that feature is in this game. That's something in real life. But so here, round comes in. Hopefully it'll bounce. If not, pen's first layer is too weak and can't get through to the next layer. Or it just, you know, again, just does less damage or something. I don't know. It really depends. I don't know the details of how all the damage is calculated. There are some mysteries still involved with this game. We don't know everything yet about it. You know, Wargaming.net has been pretty secretive about some things. They don't really like people knowing weak points of tanks as well, too. So it has been said that this is a weak point, these tubes here, which honestly I actually don't know what they are. If anybody knows, it'd be interesting to hear. But from what I've heard as well, this actually has no hitbox. So if you're aiming at this, the best that it's going to do is actually go through here, hit the cupola, or another weak point behind it. Beyond that, I've been told aiming at these points and the machine gun, possibly. Of course, you're exposed here and here, so you don't want to have that showing. Face front, always with the Super Pershing. Again, 500 engine horsepower, really blows. That's the major flaw to this thing, I think. The gun, so far, I mean, I've been able to do okay with it. What more can you ask for? A premium tank is not supposed to be better than a regular tiered tank. You know, for example, if you were to get the regular M26 Pershing, you know, it's going to have the Pershing. The regular one is probably going to have some things, because obviously here you can get you know, a different 105. I don't remember if this one is a just an HE SPH, so that one might not have, see, that one's not going to have as much penetration, so you definitely want to go with the 90 mil on there. But I think this one has, you can get this 90 mil here, which, you know, makes up for it. So it's going to have the better gun than a Super Pershing. But, you know, you're thinking about, well, look how long it's going to take you to get here. Or you could flat out buy a Super Pershing. The Super Pershing is going to have some benefits, but it's never, they're never meant to be way better than something that you can grind for. That's the whole point. But they're also meant to just earn credits. And if you have, you know, a few of them, even more so. But I mean, let's take a look at this one. This is, you know, the T-34, which is 12,000 gold. And as you can see here, the turret armor is still superior. But let's look at the hull armor, 102 front. Go back to the Super, 178 front. So definitely advantage on the hull armor. But, you know, again, can they get through this turret? Seems like the turret's probably the best place to aim. It says we have a higher speed limit, but this has a better engine, so the acceleration is going to be better, possibly. What's the weight? 65 to 50. So it depends. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, technically, the Super Pershing should be faster than the T-34, but a lot of people are claiming that it feels like the T-34 still moves faster. So, I mean, because in theory, it's not that much faster. I mean, 35 or 38. But the question is not necessarily the speed limit, but how quickly can you get to that? How quickly can you accelerate to that? So let's bring her in for another round and see what happens this time. But last match, nothing to write home about, but it was a good example of how the armor spacing works. Because don't forget, when you slant or slope armor, you're increasing its thickness. And it is nice that this game actually accounts for those types of things, so it's kind of nice. Now, this map I actually didn't play. This is one of the new ones, so time to noob it up. But all in all, you know, if you're in the market to purchase a tank, you know, is this something you would get? Well, if you like heavy tanks, I would say, again, this is going to play kind of like a Tiger. So keep that in mind. If you're looking for a flanking medium, no. Maybe wait till the Type 59 comes back, which I believe is today, August the 9th, if you're watching this late. They're going to reintroduce the Type 59 to the gift shop. And that's a very popular tank. I'm pretty much guaranteeing that you're going to see a lot of Type 59s in this game once that goes back on sale, which could possibly be tonight. Because they tend to update that stuff at like 8 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to just follow these guys around because I have no idea where to go on this map. I guess we could. It looks pretty linear because a lot of the ocean is filling the east side. So let's see how this goes. So again, if you want speed, flanking, maneuverability, maybe something else. If you want a medium tank that kind of plays like a heavy, and perhaps you can use that as an excuse to have something to train up medium crews. You know, that's what premium tanks are really good for as well. If you want to be able to put them in other tanks in the future and whatnot. So that might be a reason. Obviously, going up this hill with this piece of armor, not a good idea. I'm guessing that you would want to avoid hills at all costs. But I also don't want to be the only one on this hill. So we're going to have to maybe be careful. What are we dealing with here? Now, you can, of course, expect the Great American Gun Depression. So if you're in a hull down position and you're looking down at targets, it's going to excel at that. And no dice on that because I was aiming at the turret of a T-34, so that's to be expected. But again, too, you want to remember that this, I think, does 7 rounds a minute with the reload time. In comparison to, like, the T-34 obviously has a way better gun, but it's going to take you longer to fire a shot where you're going to do, like, 4 rounds compared to the 7, I think. So take that into consideration as well. It's an M103. That just completely missed. My crew is at 100%. But that obviously didn't hit. So we took a cupola shot there. The extra armor was going to do absolutely nothing there, and we need to conduct some repairs. So 4, obviously, we want to get the gun up. We want to tell our commander to come back into the play because he got injured. So there's a shot on the cupola. Obviously completely bypassing the extra armor. Nothing you can do about that. Somebody just had some good aim. I'm not really in a good spot here. I really don't like being a sitting duck up here. So I'm thinking maybe let's go around to where that T50 and IS-3 is. Let's try to figure this out. Can we zoom across? Although saying zoom across in this thing doesn't make much sense. Alright, so we want to be careful. We don't know what we're dealing with here. Patton tank on the rise. Gonna get some aim. That was just a bad shot on my part. Completely missed him. T-34. Rear hit on the T-34. Is he now aware? Okay, maybe. Let's bring this armor about. Face front. GW Panther in the distance. We are winning, so I'm going to go ahead and bring the fight to them. And as time goes on, people learn the game. They start figuring out weak points of tanks. So, you know, Super Pershing might be one way one day, and then the other day it's like, well, everybody knows where to aim now. But you'll be surprised how many people don't actually think about where to shoot a tank in this game. A lot of people will come in here and be like, oh, what's the difference? I shoot it at the front, I shoot it at the back. It's really noob mistakes that happen quite often, more so than you ever really imagine. And that was artillery, I think. I'm screwed because I've got no more repair kits. So most I can do is kind of back up. Not sure why I was chosen for that assault. What did I get? Did I get hit by Arty? Yeah, I did. The AMX, French Arty. It's always funny when there's a ton of targets on the map and for some reason, like, you know what? I choose you. Where's this T-30? Is it going to back out? Alright, maybe I can come around this rock. I didn't have the accuracy, but I wanted to take the shot before he moves back into cover. Why not? I've got plenty of rounds to go through. Oh, there goes that T-50. T-34 is almost toast. He's gone. Patton up ahead, but behind a rock. And those pieces of Arty are still a threat. What do we got? We've got these guys coming up. Everybody's injured. And there goes the Patton. So let's roll. Yog Tiger hanging back. Trying to play some defense. I don't know if we're actually going to get anything in here on this round. Mostly because, you know, the major issue with this one is speed. And when the tracks are damaged, that's just a bad day for this tank. I think that, yeah, like I said, it could use a little bit of a buff in terms of speed at least. I don't really expect too much else out of it because, well, it's a premium tank. It's not supposed to be amazing. It's not supposed to be amazingly better than, you know, something that you can get for free, but just, you know, using grind time or working at. But again, as you can see, 30,000 credits for a non-premium victory without really doing anything except maybe a couple hits of damage. So let's do one more battle, because we spent a lot of time actually just talking about the armor and stuff in the garage. And, you know, hopefully if you're the kind of person that enjoys, you know, picking up a premium tank here and there, this will help educate you a little bit better. Because right now, from all the reviews and videos that I've seen in regards to it, it's unfortunately been pretty dang negative. And I like to be very unbiased when I look at tanks. I look at it like, okay, you know, what is this thing going to do? And, you know, obviously I do enjoy the American armor. I just have a fascination with being the underdog in a way. You know, I love the German tanks secondary. I love their accuracy. But, you know, there's a place in my heart for this one, and I just really kind of wanted to just see what I could do with it. Because ultimately, as a developer, they don't want to say, oh, here's a crappy tank, you know, give us your money. They're not intentionally trying to give you a junk tank. You know, there's a lot of factors that go into play, and you have to consider how many tanks are in this game. It is jaw-dropping. There's more tanks in this game, and there will continue to be more tanks in this game than there are guns in a first-person shooter. It's phenomenal. It's flat-out ridiculous, and you have to put yourself in the developer's shoes. How much work it takes to look at all the stats and play with the tanks and test things and listen to feedback. And it's just, it's a lot of work, guys. And that's why I really support this game and don't mind giving them my money once in a while. Because, if anything, Wargaming.net has put out more content than most developers I can ever think of. And they just do it in a very timely manner. They're always creating updates, and it's just phenomenal. There's a Hetzer. That went nowhere. So that was just a bad shot on my part. But, you know, I mean, obviously I have my issues with this game. I have my issues with every game. There's always going to be issues with games, but all things considered, you know, I have to, I love supporting free-to-plays. I really have no problem giving them money if I feel that they deserve it. No dice there. I was trying to get him while he was backing away. Hetzer's having a bad day. He moved up a little too far. Alright, so what do we got? We can hang out over here. Oh, check that left. Alright, we've got these guys in the way, so I can't really move past them. I don't know if that T-34 is just going to hang out, so we might need to reverse. And perhaps take a look at our left flank. Maybe they'll pay attention to their front line and we can go around them. I don't know. I don't see anything just yet. I want to be careful. Let's take a look here. There's another Super Pershing in the mix. Now, we definitely know where to hit him, but it looks like he's bringing his front up, unfortunately, which is bad for me. And what do we got over there? Something. Ah! I wanted to take that guy out. Alright, track is down, but I'm the kind of guy that likes to save the repair kit for something more critical. I think they're going to take care of that. Oh, there's double Super Pershings. They're wolf packing, but I don't think that's going to be enough. One of them's going to go. And again, I'm just dealing with the speed of this tank. Try to flank here. Maybe get something. But what are they? A T-29, Panther 2. And then some stuff in the background. I don't know if they have sight lines, so we're still going to go in for a flank. Let's just do it. We've already committed to the maneuver. I'm just worried about getting shot in the butt. Oh, and then the hill. Speed. Oh, man, these guys are going to be dead by the time I get to them. I think this is a gamble that did not pay off. T-29 alone could finish them. Yeah. Back out and escape. You guys should escape so that I can kill you. Nothing yet. Not that I get many points for that, because really you only get the sum of your damage, so... But it just makes you feel better about yourself. I was hoping he would retreat, and he did. Let's see, what do we got? IS-6 hanging out in the distance. And we'll just try to roll in and see what happens. Maybe we can get a couple more. There's still a few more tanks left. Perhaps we can damage something. But after playing a few rounds, you know, if you're looking for my final verdict, I don't think that this is a horrible tank. I actually enjoy it. I enjoy the armor. I enjoy being confident about the fact that I can really just roll in with that frontal armor and be able to take a few shots and know that the math behind the armor spacing is gonna, for the most part, work out. Where's this Hetzer at? Let's see, maybe he's gonna cross through there. One would think that he was moving this direction, but I'm not sure. No, maybe not. Alright, I guess we gotta head for the bridge. Now, you could say maybe get a heavy tank that just has better armor in general. I believe that this has been compared armor-wise in the front to the KV-5, but the KV-5 has some really obvious weak points, like what they call the R2-D2 unit, which is the gun pod that's like at the front of the tank. So there's some annoying weak spots on that piece of armor, and it's just an ugly tank, and it's, I don't know, like, uh-oh. That's bad, but now that's why we use the repair kit. Bring it front. He's like, don't you call my friend ugly. I'll show you. Boom, finished. Have a nice day. And it's actually kind of funny. I've seen it. I've perceived it. I'm not sure if it literally was what's happening, but I've seen people realize that they're facing the Super Pershing from the front, and then they back off because they know, oh crap, I can't get through that front, and then they just kind of like run away. But again, I don't think it's an extremely powerful tank. I'm not saying that this is the OMG, you know, WTF Pwn tank, but it does have an intimidation factor behind it. It looks cool. It, you know, I think it's just decent in a lot of areas and really excels when it comes to that hull armor. So it then becomes up to you on how you're going to play it. That didn't go anywhere, but hopefully he'll stay still. Come on. Ah, bounce. That would have been my kill if that had went through. Not sure where that hit, if it hit the side or what. It was a hard target. He may have been in an angle, so it's a tough one. But might as well get a couple of points here for some capture. This Panther's behind a building, so that's not going to happen. And he's toast, and all that's left is some artillery. You know, in general, I'm fairly average at this game. I think in some cases tactically I'm better than most because I like to think things through, look at the map, you know, use flanks and think about where the enemy's going to go, prediction, things like that. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, skill and games, whatnot, I'm not amazing, but I think in the right hands, boom, for the finale. Thank you. In the right hands, this tank is definitely something that can do very well. In the wrong hands, you're going to get a lot of complaints. Flat out. But that's how World of Tanks is. A lot of people come into this thinking that I'm in a tank, I want more armor, and a big gun, and that's all that matters to me, when a lot of people don't pay attention to gun depression, accuracy, you know, weak points, things like that, speed, maneuverability, you know, just the fact that you can rotate on a dime, spin in one spot, and turn to a target. There's little things that come into play with this one, and I really think you have to look at that more so than, well, this thing's armor sucks from this direction or whatever. Like, put that out of your mind. Think about not getting hit. Think about where to hit the opponent and play to their weaknesses and learn your tanks. You know, there's a lot that I can still learn because there's so many tanks in this game. You know, I don't know everything, but just try to use a little bit of logic when you're going into it, and you'll usually succeed. While those weren't the most amazing games on the planet, and perhaps I don't have a kill streak of 7 tanks or 11 tanks, or you'll get a lot of guys that will post replays of like astonishing games like that. You know, whatever, as long as you survive, your tank doesn't blow up, you win the game, you bring some credits and XP back, then you've had a good day. And that's really what it's about, having, you know, a fun time keeping yourself and your team alive. But anyways, guys, that's kind of been my look, semi first impressions or review of the Super Pershing Tier 8 Premium. I think it's worth it. You might want to wait for the next test to come out so you can maybe try it for yourself if you want to, if you're not busy testing other things. I can give it my seal of approval. I think a few things could change, like the engine horsepower. We could use a little bit more of that. But otherwise, I think it's worth it if you're really into collecting these tanks and you really want to support the game and have fun with another type of Tier 8 medium. Although, again, it does play like a heavy, so keep that in mind. But with that said, I think I will probably have another video where I will play primarily in this, just to give you guys some more ideas of how it's going to run, or perhaps to help you out in your decision making. So with that said, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one.